season. We're previewing West Ham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tomorrow. For those joining on the online feed, please use the raise hand function to ask questions. Let's kick off in the room. Ed? Yes, please.
Hi, Robert. Hope you're all well. Obviously, two quite tough losses in the week. What's the mood like in the camp at the moment?
It's a good mood. I mean, we have tough games, big games, what we want to play. I think still we had a good performance against Chelsea, so I think that was a good thing to see that we keep playing our style. And also, like, we want to end this with a really good game and make sure we try to go and win in front of our fans at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So you can tell that the players are using all the energy they have left to make sure we have a good game tomorrow, and then we're going to go on a summer break. But yeah, the mood is good.
Just a follow-up, obviously it's your first season for Spurs, your first season in England. What is your assessment of how you've done so far?
It feels like I've been here for many years because it's been a long year with so many new stuff for me as a coach coming to a new country and so on. But I think we have nailed a style of playing, and I think all the players have adapted to how we want to play. It connects to the men's football as well, which means that we have a style which is an identity for Tottenham. So I think the fans see that, and that's the main thing this year, that we can actually have a certain style that shows that we are doing the right stuff. Result-wise, top 6 and final in the FA Cup, quarter-final in the County Cup. I mean, that's okay result. So it's been a good year. A lot of experience, I think, for me, for the staff, for the club, for the players. So I think when we go into next year, we have a good ground to keep building on instead of like this year when we started from zero, basically. So overall, a good year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Julia?
And then can you give us any idea of your transfer plans for the summer? Are you expecting to be busy?
I mean, it's always a few players out and a few players in, right? And I think we still have this transformation of the younger squad where we can make sure we develop our players. And I think we also see the process, how many have played a lot of minutes this year, how many might want to stay and compete, or how many want to do that. But we have a plan for it, and I think we have a plan for what kind of players we want to take in and make sure we can take steps with this squad. But it's not going to be like major ones, but it's going to be a few ones, absolutely.
And then on the game specifically tomorrow, so the reverse fixture was a pretty chaotic, exciting game. What are you expecting this time out from West Ham?
Yeah, it was really evening game. Was a lot of wind that game. I think we had some good moments and some poor moments as well. I mean, they have struggled a little bit this year, West Ham, but they have some really good players in that squad. So you know that if they have a good day, they can beat Arsenal. They can have, a point against Chelsea, I think. So you know that they're going to be a tough game, but we also know that we love to play at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We also know that we want to learn to play even better football and score a lot of goals. So hopefully we can dictate the game and have it as we want it to. But it's going to be a tough game though, because they always have competitive games, and they have a lot of draw and almost losses as well. So it's going to be a tough game, but I have a big hope that we're going to end it in a good way.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll pass back to George there.
Hi, Robert. Just want to talk about the WSL as a whole. I mean, how much have you actually learned about the league? I'm sure you had an idea coming into it, but how much have you learned about it over the last sort of 7 to 8 months?
Very much, I would say. I mean, I'm coming from the men's football, so if you go 3 years back, I have never seen a game in the Women's Super League before. Last 2 years, absolutely a few of them, but I worked in Sweden and in Champions League, so I didn't really watch too many games here either. So coming here and experience it as a foreigner has been good for me to learn, and also to make sure this first year to get through all these scenarios, all the stadiums, all the teams, all the coaches, all the players. So it's been a hectic year, but a fun year, and I think this year will give me a lot of confidence for the next year, and also to be more sharp next year. So make sure that I already know how it is to play against these teams away and home and so on. So I've learned a lot, and also I've learned that it's the best league in Europe. It's a really good league. It's a very competitive game. That's what I mean tomorrow. West Ham is, almost in the bottom of the table, but they are still a very good team with, a lot of national team players. So it's a tough league, but it's a fun league.
I think I know your answer, but sort of last game of the season, not a huge amount run on it. Sometimes is a chance to experiment, or for you, is it win and nothing else?
You always want to go on a break with a good feeling. The best feelings you get when you win a game. So we definitely want to win the game. But I also want to go with the feeling where we play our style and try to nail the identity we have. So it's the mixture tomorrow. It's not so often you can play these games without pressure on the result. So you can be a little bit more brave perhaps, but you shouldn't be stupid, because it's a very important game for us, because we want to win this. So we're going to not do too many experiments. We're going to make sure we keep going and try to take the next step.
Thank you. We will move to questions on the online feed, coming to Alex.
Hi Robert, hope you're well. Just quickly to start off, could I get team news please, and in particular Amanda Nilden after her injury?
Yeah, I mean, we did a MRI. She twisted that ankle quite bad, so she will be gone for several weeks, but she doesn't need any surgery, so she will not play tomorrow. She will not be in the national team coming up, but I think it's between 4 or 6 weeks when we can have her back. So it's not the biggest injury, but it's still a quite heavy injury.
And just, of course, at the end of the season, the match being played at the main stadium, does it kind of feel like it's the perfect way to kind of potentially end on a high and kind of celebrate playing at the main stadium?
Yeah, I think we are all in on the feelings of this one. We want to play in front of our fans. We want to have the best feelings. We want to have the best environment. And I think being at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is the best environment for us, for you guys, for the players, for the staff, for the social media team. So we want to make sure we have a good feeling the last game, and make sure we start building this momentum there, because that's where we're going to be more and more in the future. So every time we are there, we want to make sure we take steps and play even better football there, because that's our home ground and that's where we want to be.
And just finally, you get a lot of managers talking about how it's so important to build a connection with a fan base. Are you kind of at all surprised about how quickly you built a connection with the fan base, and how important has that been to the team's success this year?
Yeah, I must say, I mean, that's quite new for me. In Häcken, we of course had some fans, but we didn't really have like this massive amount of fans coming and singing and do everything. I saw some steps already there, but when you look at this fan base we have in Tottenham and globally, and how much they support us and how they show us their support, I'm very impressed by that. And for me as well, coming as a new guy to this country, and they just supporting us in every way we can. Even if we lose a few games, they are there helping us out, and that's very nice to see. And that's the fan base I really want to have, because we are into this together, and I think that's amazing that they support us this heavily.
Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers.
Rachel?
Hi, Robert. I just want to ask, as you're a new manager and you're bringing in your style, is there any particular fixture that stands out this season where you feel like you've gotten it almost exactly the way you wanted to, and it's maybe the way you strive to play week in, week out, and it's a fixture that maybe you look back on where you achieved that?
I mean, I don't think we have had that one whole game where we do it, actually, to be honest. It's moments of games, it's phases of a game, could be a whole half of a game. But I cannot come up with any game where we just nail it from the first minute to the last minute. So that's a part of the building we do and the journey we do. So I see some really good parts in the first game against Chelsea, the goal against Arsenal, some parts of the second half against Chelsea this game. And then we have some moments where we're not really good at all. So second half against Man United in the Wembley final, that's not how we want to look. So, we're learning from everything. We're learning when we are good, we're learning when we are bad. But it's a journey you need to go through before you can reach to the next level. And I think hopefully next year we can have more games where we are quite happy with the whole games, and then also get some better results, because I think we lost a few points this year when we got a draw instead of a win. I think we have 7 draws, and I think 4 or 5 of them should have been wins if we could have kept the quality in what we're doing. So a lot of good moments. I think we've shown our fans and you guys that we can play some really good football, but we haven't shown it whole games yet, and that's for the next year, I hope.
And just, is there anything that particularly surprised you coming into this league, this environment, or these players that you, I guess, inherited when you came to the club?
It's very nice to see how much they can take in a new identity, a new style of play, and how they can adapt so quickly. When you look at the team, like I did before I signed for this club, I saw players and I saw potential in some of them, and perhaps less potential in some of them when I watched them. And then when I start working with them, I realized they have so much more than I saw before I start working with them. So The beginning when we had James as a right back, and she just adapted to that role so good. Back in the goal, for example, how she can adapt in the build-up and make sure she taking steps. Amy Turner. So it's so many players, not only the young one, it's actually the older ones who've shown that they can adapt to a new play style and actually dare to do that. So I'm very pleased with what we have done there, and also the new players and the group environment. They are so good together, the group, and they helping out each other. So even if you put out a starting 11 and you make people disappointed they don't start it, the group takes care of themselves and each other, and I think that's nice to see. I might thought when I moved to England it will be a very hard climate, everybody will just try to compete, but they actually are very kind to each other and they really want to do this together, and that surprised me, but because I thought it was the opposite in England, but it's not actually.
Good to hear. Well, that's for the weekend. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Thanks. Chris?
Hi Robert, hope you're well. As you reflect on your first year at the club, I just wondered what moment made you the most happy, either on or off the pitch, and what moment made you the least unhappy this season?
I think the North London derby, the first time for me at that stadium in front of our fans and actually winning for the first time. I cannot describe that feeling, but it was massive. And also to see the players being that proud and happy, see the staff members around it being that proud and happy, and the fans staying and singing, and seeing the Arsenal fans disappointed. It was a really good day, actually. Then, of course, the rest of the games in the FA Cup bringing us to the final. It's good moments, but that game against the biggest rival we have, to beat them, to understand the rivalry between those two clubs, and actually, that was a really nice moment for me, and that's a moment I want again and again and again. So I'm going to make sure we try to do that. And I must say the biggest disappointment is the second half of the FA Cup final, and losing that big game when we could have won a title for the fans and the club, and not reach the performance we wanted. I was very down after that game, but also realizing that it was a big game, big experience, good experience. We needed that experience to move on. So I'm happy that we had it, but it was not fun when we were there.
Oh, but you always talk about improvements. You've spoken about that week after week since taking the job at Tottenham. On or off the pitch, where do you think the Spurs need to improve for next season?
I think if you look at the last games and how we have played better and better, and still doesn't score so many goals as we want. So I think we need to nail the last third, how to break down the opponents, how to be brave one against one, how to find combinations, how to find better ways to finish the attacks. Because we have a good build-up, we have a good structure, we know how to be brave on the ball, and we know how to press and defend now. Box defending was great against Chelsea, but we still score too few goals. So I think one of the biggest things next year will be how to make sure that the players can be brave enough to do the one against one and beat the opponent, how to be able to score goals in different ways according to the game model. If I'm going to pick one thing, that would be the most important thing, because we will win so many more games then, and then we're actually going to compete with the top four.
Lastly, Robert, I just wanted to ask you about Jessica Naz, of course, Spurs senior call-up for England. How good is she? How has she developed since your time at the club? And how confident are you that she can really do it on the international stage?
She has the X factor to be on that stage. I know Serena see that as well. She has a power in herself, and she's one of those players, one against one. She can beat basically any player in this world if she go for it. So now it's more to make sure she believe in herself in doing it. So yes, she have an X factor to be in that squad and actually play games for England. She still have some part of the game to improve. It's been a great year for her. No injuries. She has been played a lot, and she've learned a lot. So I think give her one more year or so, and then she will be absolutely knocking on that door to be able to actually play in the national team. But she have a few things to learn and adapt to. But it's been a great year for her and for us to have her, because we see the potential, and we're going to make sure we keep developing her, because she will be a key player for this team for many years. I can guarantee that.
Thank you, Robert. Good luck.
Cheers.
Dan Pentland.
Hey Robert, hope you're well. I just wanted, with you playing West Ham, just wanted to ask about Shalina Zadorsky. Obviously, she's been on loan there. I think she's out of contract this summer, so I just wondered, what have you thought of her performances at West Ham? Granted, she probably can't play this weekend, and is there any kind of decision on her future beyond this summer?
I mean, she's played a lot, and I think she's done some really good games for West Ham. I think she was good for them, and she got the minutes she needed for them as well. So it was a good loan. So then it's more like for the next year, we're going to make sure next week when we go through the squad, the loan players, the contracts for everybody else, then we're going to make sure we go through everything. But until now, we're just focusing on the players we have in the squad to win this game. So all that discussions will be from next week, I would say. But of course, she's a player who's done a massive role for this club in the history here, and now she played there for a few games. So we need to have a discussion about that. But nothing news there, right? Because we need to take it next week.
That's brilliant. That's all from me, Robert. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Chris Brooks.
Hi, Robert. Just want to ask about your time this summer before pre-season comes around again. Is there anything you're looking forward to doing with your family? Will you be sat on the beach somewhere soon on the phone signing players, or travelling to watch games anywhere? What does a Robert Vilahamn summer look like?
It's finally going to be a vacation, because I went from Häcken playing on Friday to come here on Saturday and keep working here. So I have worked for almost 2 years in a row now. So it's going to be nice to have a vacation, but I never have vacation though. I always have my phone with me, and I'm always working with stuff. But it's going to be nice to spend time with my family. There will be a few days in Sweden. There will be a few days in Greece. We're going to go to Cornwall, is that correct? West coast of England. We're going to go there. Everybody says that it's the best place in the UK. So we're going to go there as well. But otherwise, I'm just going to spend a lot of time with my family and just make sure we recover and reload, and then come back next year with a lot of good energy.